I'm going to start the burn session for May and June 2013 with a warm-up. So we're starting on the board for this burn. We're going to bring our hands to the front and we're going to slowly bring one foot up at a time into a modified plank here, warming up the core, getting again acclimated to how the board moves and getting everyone used to how far the board is off the ground so they get more comfortable before we get started moving quickly. So one foot up at a time, nice and light. Controlling it through the upper body, we start to warm up the upper body isometrically, the core and the lower body moving around. Now let's drop to the knees on the board. We're going to go right into some push-ups. So remember, these are tricep push-ups. Those elbows are coming straight back alongside the rib cage. Breathing in and out here, elongating the core. And of course, if you have clients that want to get right into it, they can go into some slow push-ups from the toes. I would recommend starting from the knees. We just want to get used to the motion of the board. Even if they've been on it a bunch of times, you want, again, to acclimate everybody to the movement side to side. Starting to feel it in the chest, the triceps, of course, our core. And we're going to bring it for some slow burpees. So we're going to start in this prone position, and we're going to get everybody used to moving from down to up. So again, these burpees are not explosive. We're going to take one foot at a time, bringing left foot up, right foot up, and standing up into substance. So just tell everyone to take it slow. This is the warm-up. We're going to start moving quickly in a few minutes, bringing those legs all the way up to stand, reach up towards the ceiling, and slowly bring them back. So getting acclimated to the size of the board, how our bodies fit on it. Bill here is about 6'4½", so he's going to be on the taller side, so you can see his burpees. He has to try to really control his body to do those and stay on the surface, which is very challenging. So now let's go into some sup squats. So we'll rock the board side to side. I like to get everyone used to this motion of the board again before class starts. So you can see Bill's picking up his heels, and then he's going to sit all the way into his heels for the squats to drop the hips low. Knees stay over our ankles. Core is engaged. All 10 toes are pointing forward. Feet out to the edges, to the rails of the board, breathing and squeezing up. And that's the warm-up. So you want to get about 30 seconds to 45 seconds of everything and repeat that warm-up once before we move on to our 4x4. So frog hops. This is our first move of the 4. Elbows come back and we hop up like a frog. So nice and light on the way down, especially if you guys are on a wood floor. You want to make sure that they're not absorbing that shock with the joints, that we're absorbing it with our upper body, with our muscles, with our core. So the feet come up and then lightly down. Chest drops to the board. Second move, we're going to go into some cross balance squats. So we come up into a surf stance. Remember, the first time through, you're teaching the moves, so you can teach it nice and slow, and then the next 3 circuits, you can go much faster. So cross balance squats, it's like a sumo squat. Drop it down, bring that leg up, only we're bringing it across the body on the way up. So left to right and right to left. Working the core, the obliques, of course our lower body, being sure that we know where we're putting our feet each time to maintain balance on the board. Now we're going to move on to the third move in the circuit. We call these off-board dips. So you can do dips on the board if you have enough room in your studio. These are fun, a different way to challenge the upper body and the core here. So we're going to walk it out to almost a bridge. Control through the core, drop the hips down low. See, Bill's elbows are coming straight back. His fingertips are pointing forward towards his body. And that way he's going to have his shoulders and his elbows in alignment. And he's using his triceps to squeeze up, also using the core here. And our fourth move in the 4x4 is a surf stance leg lift. So come into that surf stance and we're going to put most of our weight in one leg and abduct the other hip, lift it up. So this is a slow, controlled movement, but once you've got it, we can move a little bit quicker. Start to get the heart rate up. We're going to switch in between. So 15 seconds on one side, 15 seconds on the other. Stressing balance here. This is a lot of flexibility too, a lot of body control, but stressing balance as we start to move more quickly. And of course, you're going 4 circuits, so on the next circuit you can turn it around and do it facing the opposite way. And repeat that circuit 4 times. Give a little bit of rest in between each and get the heart rate up. So moving on, we're at cardio core. So this is our core segment. We're going to repeat this twice as well. So let's introduce the moves. We're starting with scissor kicks. So feet in and out. Lower back press down on the board. See, Bill has his hands on the rails of the board here to make it a little bit easier, and he's bringing his feet all the way up and then back to the middle and all the way down. So you can say low scissor kicks, a few seconds, bring it up medium height scissor kicks, bring it up higher for high scissor kicks. That's going to alleviate a little bit of the fatigue in the core so you can continue and keep going. Let's move on to body surfing. So this is our fun one. Of course, a very unique move on the board. You can get a full body plank and rock it side to side. So it's an unstable plank. So this would be like putting 2 Bosu balls underneath somebody and having them rock side to side with the Bosus flipped over. So it's a really, really challenging move on the board. We want to make sure we're getting into the obliques, our sides, our entire midsection here, and breathing. So we have about 30 seconds there, and then we'll bring it up. Third move in cardio core, slow wave runners. So it's cardio still, of course we want to go fast, but everyone's going to be breathing heavy, heart rates are up, we're tired. We just did a 4x4, so this is more focused on the core movement, bringing those knees in towards the chest, slow and controlled. And you're going to feel it here in the shoulders and triceps as well, just maintaining that body position and bringing those knees in one at a time. We're going to go into some supine oblique crunches. So laying down on the board, this one's very challenging. It's a slow, controlled movement. We're going to try to bring our arm out to the side, crunch through the obliques, crunch through our sides, our hips, bringing it out, staying low and level on the board. So it's a small movement, but you can really, really feel it in our sides here. It's a nice time for everyone to get a little bit of a breather while they're working the core. And we're flipping back over for tabletop holds. So remember, each of these you can do for about 30 to 45 seconds depending on your crowd. And you're going to repeat this whole cardio core circuit one more time. So tabletop holds. We're in tabletop. If you have beginners, they stay right there in tabletop and just hold it. That's a lot of work anyways. But if everyone's up for it, try to bring opposite arm, opposite leg off the board and hold. You can see this is really challenging. Bill's board's shaking around. He's feeling it, all the stabilizer muscles, all the muscles throughout his core, his back, and holding with control. And last move in our core here, we're going to go into knee push-ups. So this is focused mainly on the core, of course, on our abs, our hips, our sides, our back. But of course, we're also working the upper body. So if you have people that really want to push it, bring them up to the toes for regular push-ups. Otherwise, stick to the knees, and we can go for about 15 push-ups here, and then repeat all of those core moves one more time before moving on to our 4x4 circuit, number 2. All right, so 4 moves. We're going to start with one of our favorites, wave runners. We try to incorporate this in a lot of workouts. It's a really unique move on the board, and it's definitely something that you progress, you get better at, and you're able to get more out of it each time. So bringing those knees in sort of a running motion here, controlling with the upper body. You can see Bill's upper body flexed. Breathing, keeping that core maintained flat and engaged. And surf skaters is number 2. So pretend you're skating here, you're a hockey player. So we're coming laterally, up and over. There we go. So bringing one foot up onto the board and the other one over. So you can do this a little slower for the beginners. Otherwise, pick up the speed. This is a good cardio move. Nice and light on those feet, remember, especially on the wood floor, nice and light on the feet. You get more out of it if it's controlled and less flailing and more controlled movement. And now let's bring it up for move number 3, simulated stand-up paddle. So you can really get the cardio going here, start to get the class excited. We're paddling through the water, we're going somewhere, we're racing, but you want to make sure the form is correct. So see that board shake and tremble each time Bill squats and paddles. So he's bringing his upper body across the core and twisting while maintaining alignment in his hips, keeping his hips squared forward. Last move here is a knee paddle. So this one's important too, to draw the belly button in towards our spine, to breathe, to look where we're going. So again, we're still racing, we're paddling through the water. You can really get the energy up here and breathe as we do it. And that's our 4th move. We're going to repeat that circuit 3 more times for our 4x4. So our last segment here is our dynamic balance / cool down. So we're still working the balance. After that 4x4, everyone's going to be sweaty and tired. Now let's walk the board. So you'll see some surfers who are really, really good who are able to do this on a wave. So try to get everybody to envision they're on a wave walking the board. So we're crossing our foot over, and when we get to the back, we're going to hang our heel forward and hang our toe back. So that foot that's closest to the end of the board, you're hanging the heel forward and the toe back. So once people get the rhythm, they can start to move a little bit faster. But we're really controlling it with that standing leg. Now cross that back foot over the front, slow steps to the front of the board, to the nose, and try to challenge everyone not to look down at their feet if they can, to try to look straight ahead. Once you get there, we're hanging that foot that's closest to the nose of the board off to the front, hang the heel, toe back. You can see Bill's got a rhythm, he's moving quickly. You can take it much slower. You're really going to feel it in that standing leg and glute, controlling the motion, single leg. Excellent. Now we're going to bring it to some lateral lunges, so still challenging balance, but also getting some flexibility, stretching in here. So feet nice and wide. Like I said, Bill's pretty tall, so he's taking up that whole middle pad of the board. Some of your shorter clients won't have to take up that whole pad, but you want to make sure they have a nice wide stance. They're able to stretch it side to side, controlling the motion of the board, nose to tail, breathing, keeping the hips back, not leaning too far forward. Core is engaged, chest is up tall, good posture. Now let's turn it forward for a sprinter stretch. So we're going to come down onto the board, really stretch out those hip flexors. We did a lot of work in our core, so feeling it there, feeling it in the hip flexor. And we're going to press up into a pulsing lunge. So just a nice little pulse. Bill's got about a quarter lunge going on. You can do even smaller pulse here, just holding it, just a little motion, getting a stretch, and also, of course, feeling it in the lower body. Switch those feet, pulsing lunges here, just dropping that knee down a tiny, tiny bit, breathing, maintaining center on the board. So a lunge is a really challenging position to maintain your center right down the midline of the board. So stress that's very important. And hold a stretch here for a minute. So you should have the heart rates up, everybody should be breathing heavy, they're getting a good stretch, but remind everyone that they're still on an unstable surface. So even though we're stretching and that's the end of the workout almost, we want to make sure that we're maintaining focus, and there's a lot of balance to be done here as well. So bring it up for a nice modified warrior series. So you can get creative with this especially if you're a yoga expert, if you take a lot of yoga, if you teach yoga, you can bring a lot of that inspiration to the end of your workouts, because this is a lot of people's favorite part, is getting into some of the balance, flexibility, yoga-inspired movements. Maintaining center down that board is so key and important. Of course, yoga teaches you to stay on your yoga mat, and this takes it up one more level, because now your yoga mat is moving, and you have to maintain perfect alignment on that mat. Otherwise, the board's going to tip you off side to side. So switching those feet, you can see the board's trembly, shaky. Everyone's muscles are going to be fatigued. So this is a great focus challenged segment. Deep breathing. And again, you can get creative with what you do in your warrior series. Just make sure that you're stressing alignment, center, focus, core strength, and reminding everybody that they're still unstable. So you can't just get rid of the mental focus at the end here. You've got to keep it the high level of focus as you bring the energy down, deep breathing, and finish your burn session.